The Minnesota Timberwolves just made a splash, and honestly, I'm kind of still trying to process it. It's honestly a sad, sad day in Minnesota because Karl Anthony Towns is gone. The 9 years that he was there, of course, through the poverty that they were just an incompetent franchise at the beginning of his career, and then now actually winning games and he gets shipped off to New York. Kind of sucks, but that is the business of the NBA, and I think this trade, at least from the Timberwolves' perspective, was strictly business, and we'll talk about that in a second. But Cat, 22 points a game, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 50% shooting from the field, 42% from 3 on 5.3 attempts, one of the best shooting bigs in the NBA. Now in the playoffs, he was a little bit worse, but still, he was an all-star last year. He is a huge piece of this Minnesota community, Minnesota organization. Unfortunately, when the Timberwolves signed him to that massive extension, you can see it up at the top, that pretty much guaranteed that at some point they were going to have to split this roster up. They effectively chose Naz Reid and Nickeil Alexander-Walker, as well as having about $50 million extra dollars over Karl Anthony Towns in the long run when it comes to the second apron and stuff like that. But they do get a couple of new additions to the roster, better depth now with Donte Dicincenzo and Julius Randle. Dicincenzo is an elite role player. He was fantastic for the Knicks last year, and I think he should start this year. We'll talk about that in a second. But he averaged 15 points a game, 3.7 rebounds, 2.7 assists, and 1 steal as a Knick last year on very good efficiency. 44% from the field is not elite, but 40% from 3 on 9 attempts, that is without a doubt elite, especially on that type of volume right there. In the playoffs, he averaged 18 points a game, 4 rebounds, 1.2 steals, and shot 43% from 3 on 8 attempts. Fantastic numbers in the playoffs for him. As for Randle, he had a big time year last year as well before the injury. 24 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, and 1.2 steals per game. A big-time scorer in New York, as well as a solid rebounder, and we'll see how his fit works. I think, honestly, I like him better off the bench in Minnesota. Y'all let me know your thoughts, but 47% from the field, 31% from 3. I'm going to explain it here in a second. He's elite getting downhill, and he also has a very special skill set, which allows teams to do one thing, and that is the inverted pick and roll. Now, Cat could do this too, but Julius Randle attacking Brook Lopez here as you watch off the Taj Gibson screen. Brook Lopez doesn't even come out of the paint, and he knocks down the 3 ball. He can also drive. Like I said, he's great going downhill, but I like him better off the bench, and for a couple of reasons. First off, I like Donte DiVincenzo in this lineup for his defense, his off-the-ball activity, and he can bring you a good 15 points a game alongside Jaden McDaniels, and somebody's got to make up for the 3-point shooting left behind by Karl Towns. And it's probably not going to be Julius Randle, and it's probably not going to be a 38-year-old Mike Conley. I like Julius Randle off the bench with the rookies here, with Naz Reid. You also have Leonard Miller and Joe Ingles, to throw in there. But yeah, and then you have Ant, of course, who is going to be, he's now the alpha, the lone alpha on this team. He was kind of the alpha last year, but Cat was still there. He was an all-star as well, but now Ant is the lone alpha, averaging 26 points a game, 5.4 rebounds, 5.1 assists, and 1.3 steals. And going into his year 23 season, or his 23-year-old season, I think he should be more than ready for this. 46% from the field, 36% from 3 last year, but he was hooping with Team USA this year. He got a lot of positive influences this summer, and I think he is ready to take the next step, average close to 30 a game, and be an absolute megastar in this league. And another thing that the Timberwolves did this offseason was they fixed their biggest issues. Last year when Anthony Edwards was off the court, this team was not great. 106 offensive rating versus 122 offensive rating with Ant on the court. That's going to be even worse now without Karl Towns, but something that will improve with Julius Randle and Donte DiVincenzo getting downhill is their rim shot frequency. They also drafted 2 elite slashers in Rob Dillingham and Terrence Shannon Jr., and they got Dillingham, the number 8 overall pick, for a couple of, at this point, their dreams off in the future, but they could either be very good, this could be a very good trade, or it could be a very bad trade, depending on the future of this Timberwolves team. But 15 points a game, 4 boards, 3 assists on 48% shooting from the field, 44% from 3 for Dillingham last year at Kentucky. The crazy part about this for Rob Dillingham is he only played 23 minutes last year coming off the bench. He's obviously, like we said, an elite slasher, puts a lot of pressure on the rim, but he's also a very good passer. I think he's more of a natural point guard. He averaged 6.6 assists per game last year per 40 minutes, which is pretty solid here. Kicking it out, hit Antonio Reeves for the 3 ball. The shooting is very impressive as well. Overall, I mean, Dillingham, if he was 2 inches taller, he'd have been the number 1 pick in the draft. 44% shooting from 3. That's impressive right there. Also, if he was a little bit more built, a little skinny right now. But he has a funky shot, which also kind of scared some scouts away. But hey, it goes in. Anybody shooting 44% from three as a college freshman, doing stuff like that off the dribble, stepping back, elevating over guys. That's some pretty good stuff. That is definitely NBA caliber right there. Now he's just going to get into his bag, hit the step back. He's great off the ball as well. Can move without the ball, knocking down the three ball here, as you can see what he did against Alabama. And overall, I think the best part of his game is his slashing. His shooting, his passing is just a compliment to all this because he has a lightning quick first step, especially around screens, getting all the way to the rim, finishing with the left right here. And then he can also finish with his right. This time, once again, same play. But he's got great touch either way. Now here he comes back, going up with the left, coming down and finishing with the right with the and one. Rob Dillingham's going to be great. But I think my favorite player in this whole draft class, my favorite value pick in this whole draft class was Terrence Shannon Jr. at 27. This kid should have been a lottery pick, in my opinion. And if the rape allegations, which were proven false, weren't over his head at the time, I think he would have. 48% shooting from the field, 37% from three on 7 attempts, 23 points a game, one of the country's leading scorers. He's great shooting the three ball, jab, step back right here. That's a high difficulty shot, not easy whatsoever, and he knocks it down. This time from NBA range, from beyond NBA range, and he just knocks it down easily. His jumper's so quick, so effortless. Got catch and shoot upside as well, playing off the ball. Here he is working off of a screen into a step back, knocking it down. So he can definitely create his own shot. He can play off the ball, and he's the best athlete in the draft class. I've showed this clip before, but just watch this right here. All right, he is going to hawk this dude down from half court. This guy's at the 3-point line already, catching it and going to score. Shannon hawks him down and almost dunks it, trying to block it. But overall, he's just a pure scorer, fantastic athlete. So he's got, a lot of the stuff that comes with that, but just a pure scorer. 58% shooting from 2-point range. Hezzy here getting downhill, effortless dunk, getting upstairs. Now he's going to curl the screen, the 1-2 with the left. Every type of finish in the bag. He can finish over you or through you. That's a little sus, but he can do it either way. Unstoppable getting downhill. If you get him a screen, this man is pretty much getting 2 every single time. Now, K-State Tamanaga, really? You got him on an island with Terrence Shannon Jr. What are we doing, Hoiberg and company? But anyways, defensive upside for Terrence Shannon, I think, is definitely there. Here he is trailing, gets the block on the screen. Now he's going to be in passing lanes. Incredible measurables for the kid. I really like that a lot about him, are the stats that he puts on paper, and then his athleticism and just his measurables overall. I think he can be a phenomenal player. And when he's in transition, he's absolutely electric, by the way. I think Terrence Shannon Jr. is going to be a much bigger piece to this Timberwolves team than you may think. But yeah, overall, Cat is gone. Crazy stuff. Y'all let me know your thoughts. As a Timberwolves fan, that's obviously got to suck, but I think Randle, I think Dicincenzo, I think if you start Dicincenzo, that's definitely the way to go. But if you did enjoy today's video at any point, make sure to the like button and that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. And with all that being said, thanks so much for watching today's video.
Subscribe to Backyard Buckets right now!